I had pre-ordered Shenmue III, which was released on the 19th of November 2019, and I've been playing the PS4 version for almost a week now, although I have yet to complete it, so this video will be my opinion of what I've played of the game so far. As a big Shenmue fan, to finally be able to play Shenmue III after 18 years of waiting, it's been a joy to play, but you can probably guess the game is not without its problems. There have so far been 2 patches for the PS4 version of Shenmue III, totaling around 18 GB in total, that makes various adjustments to the game, such as fixing balancing, usability and stability. This video will be based on version 1.02. Please note that this video may contain minor spoilers. In my previous video, which is linked in the description below, I looked at the first 2 games in the Shenmue series, which follows Ryo as he discovers the mystery of the magic mirrors and seeks vengeance for the death of his father by the evil Lan Di. Right from the main menu of Shenmue III, you can access a recap movie, which gives an update of the story so far by showing scenes of Shenmue 1 and 2 with a voiceover. When the first Shenmue game was released 20 years ago, it was groundbreaking in many ways, including its graphics, and Shenmue 3 doesn't disappoint too much. The main characters, including Ryo and Shenhua, have been faithfully recreated, and the surroundings and objects are detailed, though I have found more than one instance of low-res textures. The game only runs at 1080p, so on my PS4 Pro the visuals are upscaled, and the frame rate is not as high as I would have liked, and some objects suddenly appear as you move through the level, with shadows or other effects not appearing as fast as they should. But it doesn't detract too much from the beauty of the Shenmue III world. The characters are animated quite well both during gameplay and cutscenes, but the lip sync could have been a lot better. There are some familiar sound effects and music. Just opening Ryo's notebook and hearing the music brings you back to the first Shenmue game. The voice acting is okay, and it's good to have some of the returning voice actors, but it's a shame to hear some new voices when you're used to the old ones.
I'm sure we'll find out more about your father.
Thanks. You investigate here, Ryo. I'll try another settlement.
From my understanding, Ryo purposely retains his awkward way of speaking, but I can see how it may appear strange to newcomers. I appreciate it must take a lot of time and money to record the dialogue, but it can be very repetitive at times. For example, a shopkeeper always greets you in the same way. Unlike a lot of games today, Shenmue III is a game that is about taking your time, and as much as you may want to progress the main storyline, there are side quests to do, as well as items to collect, including capsule toys, like with previous Shenmue games, and a new addition of herbs to pick, which can be sold to make some money. As before, Ryo must explore, talk to people, train, fight, trade and work as well, but now must manage his health, as should it get low, he will not be able to run, and it will put him at a disadvantage when fighting. You can interact with people by approaching them, and a name will be displayed, and you can look around first person view and even walk around in that view, making it easier to interact with objects. Although not showing up immediately, the quick time events, QTEs, return, but as well as being part of a scene, QTEs can also form parts of mini-games. Virtually playing games at the arcade is a staple of the Shenmue games, and from what I've played so far of Shenmue III, there are returning mechanical games you can play, such as Lucky Hit, and a few familiar electromechanical games like the QTE ones, but no actual Sega games, probably because of licensing issues. There can be found posters of Sega arcade classics, but the best that is offered is a Virtua Fighter knockoff, which I did not find appealing, and it was difficult to play. As much as controlling Ryo in Shenmue III is a lot better than in the previous Shenmue games, even in Shenmue III, controlling Ryo still feels clunky at times, and it can be difficult to navigate him around some objects. On a related note, some things you should be able to walk through, such as plants, you can't, so Ryo will just come up against an invisible wall. It's a little bit frustrating when you're exploring and you just want to splash in the water, and Ryo just stops dead in his tracks. Like in previous Shenmue games, the player and NPCs are affected by the game's virtual real-time clock, and the surroundings react to the time of day, and certain people will only appear depending on the time. For plot events, you can choose to fast forward to a place and time, and late evening you get walked to wherever you are staying, which is a little annoying when you want to explore. Shenmue is known for its weather effects, but so far I've only seen rain to contrast the dry weather, and even when it does rain, I have not seen a single character whip out an umbrella, which is something I missed from previous Shenmue games. When you first start the game, there is a loading screen showing one of the main characters and a bit of information about them, and it's a nice touch having the spinning mirrors at the bottom of the screen. From then on, the game loads quite frequently, but otherwise you are quite free to explore the game world without too much interruption. The loading, however, can be very jarring, as in one example, Ryo was chasing a bad guy, but there was significant loading before the QTE chase began. Imagine watching a film and the hero is about to chase down a thief, but your viewing gets interrupted by an advert. If nothing else, Shenmue III reveals more about the foundation of Shenmue games, as well as advancing the story, as we get closer to the showdown with the killer of Ryo's father, Lan Di. The story is told mainly through the interaction of the various characters, which happens quite naturally, and with Ryo and Shenhua discussing recent events each day, it not only gives the player a reminder of what has happened, or what they need to do next, it appears quite natural. When you get to the second area, you can buy phone cards and make international calls to characters of previous Shenmue games, which is a nice way of tying Shenmue III to the previous two games. I don't want to say too much as to not give away anything important story details, but stay for the ride to learn more of the magic mirrors and what will happen to Ryo and Shenhua. Shenmue III feels like a Shenmue game, and familiar themes return, such as QTEs, capsule toys, and so on. There are sweet little touches, such as Shenhua wishing Ryo good morning, and I especially enjoyed where in the first part of the game you can find Shenhua knitting, and have a discussion about various topics which the player can choose. There are some beautiful scenes, such as when you approach the balcony outside Ryo's room, where he is staying at the hotel with Shenhua, and you can chat with her. One time she is singing and a bit embarrassed to be caught by Ryo. Early in the game, a few women hit on Ryo, and some of the locals mistake Ryo and Shenhua for being a couple, but it's difficult to get a good idea how they really feel about each other, although it's clear they care about one another. The two contrast well with each other, as Ryo is a city boy and appears quite normal and wants vengeance for his father's death, whereas Shenmue is a village girl and is little odd as she talks to animals and has special powers. Shenmue started life as a virtual fighter RPG, and the fighting is still present in Shenmue III, but in my opinion feels more fluid. You can spar, level up, and fight opponents, and you can recover health during a fight should you have the right item. There will be certain characters you will need to defeat to progress the story, but you can come back to fight them later on, giving you a chance to level up or recover rather than having to keep fighting, even though you now realise you don't have a chance of winning at that moment. Right at the start of the game, you can select the game difficulty level as well as any time after you can also, so that makes the game a bit more fair for those not so used to the fighting. There are references to Shenmue in general that break the fourth wall, such as having capsule toys of Shenmue characters. There are two instances I've found so far of finding a Sega Saturn, which could be both a reference to Shenmue originally designated to be released on the Sega Saturn, as well as a Saturn Easter egg in the original Shenmue. Some of the books in a bookstore in Shenmue III reference Chapter 1 and 4 of Shenmue, as well as having other Shenmue references. It was a delight to see a tomato convenience store in the second area, and Ryo even mentioned to the shopkeeper that he has the stores back home. For Shenmue fans, I'm sure Shenmue III is like a dream come true, and though it will not appeal to everyone, it is something that has come about because of the Shenmue fans, and the creator Yu Suzuki's passion for the series. Even for Shenmue fans, as I have briefly highlighted, Shenmue III is not without its issues, but on the budget they had, we have to be at least a little bit forgiving. If people don't progress past the first area, I feel they will miss out on what Shenmue III has to offer, so I suggest to keep playing further. Of what I've played of Shenmue III so far, it has been very enjoyable to progress the story and rejoin familiar characters as well as meet new ones. Shenmue III only takes us halfway through the main story, so fans are eagerly looking forward to Shenmue IV. Thanks for watching. Please let me know your thoughts and what you think of the Shenmue games, especially after release of Shenmue III. Bye for now. Bye.
Leo. Let's go.
Yeah,